Hello, my name's Nikki and I love travelling up and down the UK in my motorhome. As a wheelchair user, finding accessible days out involves a lot of research, and I find watching videos really helpful in helping me to decide where to go. I would love to share some of my holidays with you to help you decide whether the places we visit would be suitable for you too. This week we're going to the Scottish borders. I'm travelling with my husband Neil and my canine partner Liggy. It's our first visit to the Scottish borders and we're looking forward to visiting lots of really good places. Come with us and we'll try to give you an honest review of how accessible the places we visit in the Scottish borders are for wheelchair users. We're going to be visiting the Tees Barrage, Paxton House, Eyemouth, the Jim Clark Motorsport Museum, the Coldstream Museum, Melrose Abbey, Abbotsford and Belsey Hall Castle and Gardens. So we're all loaded up and ready to go. The freezer's full, the fridge is full, and the drawers and cupboards are all full. All ready to head off to Teesside. Teesside Barrage is a magnificent piece of engineering. It's got 4 big Archimedes screws and they move the water level. The barrage was built to prevent flooding upriver and it maintains the water level past the barrage at the average height of a high tide. The risk of flooding in the towns nearby is reduced. They've also made a White Rapids course so you can go kayaking and rafting. We were watching this. It's the first time I've visited and it's actually been working. Then we went for a walk along the riverside towards Infinity Bridge, which is where we'd parked. It's a circular walk. You can walk there on one side of the bridge, over Infinity Bridge, and then back round. There is a ramp up onto the bridge. Obviously the bridge is at a higher level, but it's quite a long, slow slope, and I found it quite manageable. So now I'll show you some of the photos that we took. We've just arrived at Backworth Air. It's a golf club and lots of sports stuff, cricket and things like that, but they've got a motorhome Air. Neil's just gone to pay. It's £10 a night and you get a code for the water, waste and Elsan Point, which is actually just out of the window. Let's see if I can turn this very slowly round. Inside that wooden fenced off area is the water, waste and Elsan Point. So yeah, tomorrow we're going to Paxton House, that's near Berwick-upon-Tweed, and then tomorrow night for a few nights we're staying on a campsite. But this is just an Air. Airs are really popular on the continent. We don't have that many of them in the UK, but this one looks really nice. Hi, it's mid-afternoon on Sunday and we've just visited Paxton House. Paxton House is a Palladian stately home and it's just over the Scottish border in a village called Paxton. We did the tour of the house, which was really interesting. A lady who was a fantastic storyteller told us the love story of a guy called Patrick and the person who he always wanted to marry, Sophie. But they never did get married, and the story around the house really was about their lives. And then another person called George who took over the house when Patrick died, and it was just really beautiful, really interesting. The house is full of Chippendale furniture, and it was a really pleasant experience. From an accessibility point of view, I had hoped to video some of it and get some photos. We weren't allowed to take any photos inside the house. We've taken a lot of photos outside and around the grounds. But the ground floor of the house is fully wheelchair accessible. There's a lift up to the ground floor, and the tour goes upstairs, but only for a short time. And whilst the rest of the tour goes upstairs, there's actually a video, a really good video, that you can sit and watch on the ground floor. And then the tour comes down the stairs. The timing of it was impeccable. As the tour re-emerged at the stairs, my video ended. So it was really, really good. And the rest of the house, the ground floor was accessible. There were some carpeted rooms, mostly wooden floors. The door frames were really wide, so it was really easy to get me and Liggy through together. Liggy was really good, as usual. She's getting quite good at things like stately homes. She knows to lie down while we're having the storytelling. After that, we came outside and we've had a walk around the grounds, but it is really, really hot and the grounds are quite steep in places. We had a look around the garden, but we couldn't access all of it, even with my trike, because it's quite wet at the moment. The ground is soft and I was just too tired. But we've had a little look round and taken some photos, which I'll add into the video later. Neil's now gone and taken Liggy for a walk down, I think down to the riverside. So I'll see what he has to say about that when he gets back. Meanwhile, I'm going to stop and have a rest and drink of water and maybe something to eat. This is Eyemouth Beach. We've just brought Liggy down here and Neil's taking her for a little play on the beach. There's a little slipway down that I've managed to get part way down, and I'm now sitting on the edge. Liggy really loves the beach. She loves the sand and the seaweed, and normally actually likes to go in the sea, but she doesn't seem that bothered today. Considering it's a bank holiday Monday, I'm surprised at how quiet this beach is. It's literally just us. It's really beautiful, it goes all the way around. It's nice to find a beach where dogs are allowed as well. Where I've come in, down this little slip road. It's quite steep, looking forward to getting back up it, but I'm literally just sitting on my seat cushion, which I've taken off my chair, which is now next to me. So I'm sitting on my wheelchair seat cushion because I can't sit on hard surfaces. But yeah, it's a nice beach. I'm liking it. Decided to go for a paddle. Uh-oh, I feel a shake coming on. This is the Widows and Bairns sculpture. It commemorates the widows and bairns of Eyemouth left behind by the Great Storm of the 14th of October 1881. When Scotland suffered her worst fishing disaster and the Berwickshire ports lost 189 men, many within sight of here. The hurricane left 78 widows and 182 fatherless children. Some children were offered places in Aquarius Children's Home, but the mothers refused, saying, "We shall keep our bairns for the future of our ports." It's because of the tenacity and the determination of the womenfolk of the town that Eyemouth continues to be a thriving community and proud of its heritage. Each bronze figure represents a real person. They are arranged in groups above the name of their boat. Details of the families can be found in the museum. We're on our way back from Eyemouth back to the motorhome, and we're going over this little footbridge. We've walked along the pier, and I don't know if the video is going to pick it up, but the hill in the distance, we're right at the top of that hill, kind of behind that big building over there. The road up is very steep. I think I'll perhaps pick some of that up. There you go, that road up there is quite steep. We'll see how it goes. It was a good surface. We're in the Eyemouth Museum, and this little room is about the fishing disaster, and this is a tapestry that shows, I think it's got the names of the people who lost their lives.
The different boats with
and the different boats. It's very beautiful. We've come in here to watch a video, but we don't know how to work it, and it's like an Xbox controller. I've managed to activate the menu, but now we've got stuck, and the slideshow isn't showing any slides. But it is all wheelchair accessible throughout. We're probably just too old. We've found a slightly easier hill. It's a longer hill but less steep than the one we took earlier, and it's got a reasonable pavement. The last bit was a little bit potholed, and then we kind of come round here, and that's back to where the van is. We're now in Berwick-upon-Tweed, and we've come up onto the castle walls, and where we are now there's one heck of a drop, but there's beautiful views out to sea. Getting up here was quite steep. I'm in my off-road chair. It was quite hard work but doable, and then once up here there's a high path and a low path. If you don't like heights, stick to the low path. I might do that next time. And I don't know how far we're going to walk, but it's really, really beautiful. And the seats at various intervals. Good morning. This morning we're in a little village called Duns. We've parked up street side because the place where we're going today doesn't have any car park, and it is really just a small town, maybe a village. And today is a visit that really is for Neil. Anybody who's into Formula One will probably have heard of Jim Clark. Jim Clark was a motorsport champion in the 1960s, and he did Formula 1, Formula 2, IndyCar racing, all kinds of different racing. He was world champion for Formula 1 twice, gained more pole positions than any other racing driver of his time. And unfortunately, in 1968, his life was cut short at the age of 32. He was in a Formula 2 race in Hockenheim in Germany and had an accident. They don't really know what happened. They never found out the cause of the crash, but sadly he was killed. In Duns, which is near to where he grew up and where he lived, there's now a motorsport museum dedicated to his life, and that's where we're visiting today. So, as I say, this is really for Neil. Neil loves motorsport racing, but I think I'm going to enjoy this too. The bits that I know about him from the research I've done is that he grew up in Churnside on a farm. He was a sheep farmer. I know that his mum didn't want him to be a racing driver, and I can really relate to that as a mum, as a wife. Like, the thought of a member of my family doing motorsports would fill me with dread, because it's dangerous. You can die. I feel like there's going to be a story here today, and I'm looking forward to exploring more. We've just arrived at the Jim Clark Motorsport Museum in Duns. It's beautiful here. There's steps up, but there's a nice slow steady ramp that comes up around the front garden, and then there's a welcome board here that says assistance dogs are welcome. Wouldn't it be nice if everywhere did that? And then the entrance is just here, and hopefully we'll be allowed to take photos and videos inside.
But really, I would say in the last 12 months it was like that shape, and he started getting bigger money, he started recognising that he needed to go abroad for that money to be realistic, and that's why he went to Bermuda.
Bermuda was an escape from the UK's 90% tax rate for top earners, but it forced Jim away from his beloved borders.
There's no doubt that this is happy as all of us did get back, but of course it was really at the stage.
At least give them a help.
On your marks. Get set. Go.
I was right still.
They all crashed.
And it did.
We're now inside Berwick Barracks. Ahead is the Berwick Museum and Art Gallery. The section to the left was fine. That was like a path around an exhibition. I managed to get around there okay. The other way there's steps and they've got a ramp, but I'm in my trike at the moment and the trike is wider than the ramp, but Neil's in there with Liggy. On the English Heritage website it does say that there are steps to the first floor of each of the museums. There's 3 museums, but in reality there's steps to get in as well. It didn't say that. It kind of implied that you would be able to get into the ground floor but not the first floor, but in reality both are impossible. In terms of access, for me there was only the one small exhibition that I've managed to get in. It's not a problem, we haven't planned to come here, and we're members so it hasn't cost us anything to come in, but we would have been a bit disappointed if we'd have planned to spend an afternoon here, I think. Today we're visiting the Coldstream Museum in the town of Coldstream. This is where the Coldstream Guards originate from. In the time of Oliver Cromwell, a new regiment was created called Monk's Regiment of Foot, and they eventually went to London and helped restore the monarchy, and as a result they became quite popular. So they are what we now know as the Coldstream Guards, and we've just had some great fun dressing up in the costumes. I'll post some photos later. The museum itself is quite small, but it's all on one level and we're having a nice look round. We're now in the grounds of Melrose Abbey, which was a bit tricky to get in, and I can't get into all of it, and the actual abbey itself is closed anyway for masonry issues. But yeah, it's a beautiful abbey with beautiful grounds. It's a Cistercian abbey, I believe. Good afternoon. We're now on Thursday and today we're visiting Abbotsford. Abbotsford is where Sir Walter Scott lived. He kind of built Abbotsford, not him personally obviously, but he bought the land here. When he first bought the land it was called Cartley Hole, and he renamed it Abbotsford after the abbots from Melrose Abbey who crossed at the ford over the River Tweed on the land here. The house is really unusual. I wish we'd taken some video, but I got photos, so I'll post some photos at the end of this. The house is in a mixture of styles, and it depends which way you look at the house from as to what style you see. And the inside of the house is really beautiful. I particularly liked his study and the library. I suspect Neil really liked the armouries. In terms of accessibility here, I was going to take some video, but we had a bit of a problem. Whenever we visit somewhere like this, We generally do it so that I use my normal wheelchair for the house and any indoor areas, and we tend to do those first. Then we come back to the motorhome and have lunch and switch chairs, and then we use my mountain trike for any kind of gardens, gravel paths, any parts of the estate that we want to do separately. However, it's quite a long walk down to the visitor centre from the car park. It's down a hill. It's a good path, it's a tarmacked path, but we're parked in the coach park, not the car park, because of having a bigger vehicle. We got down to the visitor centre, we checked in and got our stickers and all the instructions and everything. Then I went to the toilet, and as I came out of the toilet I could feel that my chair was sort of wonky, and I realised straight away that when I get that feeling it usually means I've got a flat tyre, and sure enough it looks like I've got yet another puncture. So we've had to use my mountain trike for everything, and I'm very conscious that we've got another day out planned tomorrow at Belsey Hall, Castle and Gardens, and I now have no normal wheelchair. So Neil's taken Liggy now for a walk around the grounds, kind of off-road. So I've come now back to the van to sit and relax and have a cold drink, while Neil has taken Liggy for a walk. In terms of access to the house, thankfully I did manage just in my mountain trike. It's a bit wider than my normal chair though. Some of the doorways were tight, but I managed to get through them and didn't scratch any of the nice woodwork. And it's all on one floor. It was actually really nice. In my normal chair it would have been dead easy. Most of the floors were wood. There were some that were carpeted, but nothing that would have been problematic. The only thing that sort of slightly put a bit of an uncomfortable tinge on the day, when we arrived outside the house I stopped to take some photographs, and a man in a kilt came out and started trying to talk to us, but then when we were about to go into the house they then questioned whether or not they were going to let Liggy in. I wouldn't call it an access refusal, but he wanted to go in and check with his colleague, and then his colleague came out and said, yeah, dogs are not allowed in the house. I pointed out that their website actually said assistance dogs are allowed, but they said that we would have to ring up to the main visitor centre to check, only to be told inevitably that yes, of course, assistance dogs are allowed in. I get that people don't always know, but I think in places like this that all staff should be trained, and all staff should know the rules, and effectively what we're talking about is all staff should know the law regarding assistance dogs. I didn't say anything at the time. I didn't want to make the situation any more uncomfortable, but I don't think they quite appreciate that they make you feel uncomfortable and unwelcome when they do this, and it does put a kind of an unpleasant tinge on the day. We did get to go round. Thankfully Liggy was very, very well behaved. In each room she laid down while we read the guide, and the inside of the house, it was well worth it, so I'm glad we did that. After we visited the house we went into the visitor centre. There's a nice exhibition in there, and we also went up to the cafe, which was fully enclosed and very pleasant, and we had a coffee and a shortbread in the cafe. That was really nice. There's a lift, it's a platform lift, very grindy. It was making some very strange noises. If you didn't like lifts it would have been a bit scary, but I'm not bothered by lifts. So we had a coffee and some shortbread, and then went round the exhibition area. There's a lovely shop with lots of very expensive tartan scarves and lots of knickknacks as well. Then after lunch this afternoon we went back and walked around the gardens, and I've got some photos. So that's Abbotsford. When we've done here we're going to have to go back to the campsite and see if we can have a look and fix my puncture. I hope we can fix it. If not, I'm stuck with just my mountain trike for tomorrow, and we'll have to just make do. We're currently inside Belsey Hall, which is currently unfurnished and under active renovation. It's really fascinating to see what they're doing, and like all the walls and windows, everything is stripped back. All the rooms are empty. This is the pillar room, and Neil's just heading up the stairs. The downstairs is fully accessible, but obviously, particularly whilst it's under renovation, you can't get upstairs, although I suspect they're going to put in a lift. We've now switched chairs and we're hoping to go into the gardens and the castle area, but at the moment the door that I'm supposed to get through is way too narrow. So Neil's gone in to see if there's an alternative route. I'm hoping that we'll be able to just follow the road round over there.